Hey guys, what is up? It is Colt Flag 44 here, talking about the Seahawks loss to the Indianapolis Colts. This is Hawk Ramblings, Seahawks versus the Colts, week number 5 for the 2013 NFL season. Alright, so this was going to be a tough game for the Seahawks going into it. They were 4-0, Colts were 3-1. Colts were playing really well, Seahawks were playing really well. Seahawks escaped with a victory in Houston and then had to fly back to Seattle, then come back on the road to Indianapolis, back to the to Indianapolis or whatever, and then play a 10 o'clock game Pacific time, 1 o'clock Eastern time, so an early game for them. Just a really tough schedule, really tough situation, and so it was pretty much another kind of like toss up to see if they were going to win it. And so I mean, ultimately, going into these two games, they needed to win one of them, and that's what they did. And so I'm not too disappointed with the result. I think they played really well all game. They got close, could have won it, didn't work their way. Last week, it went their way. Just one of those things where I don't know, you're not going to win every one, and or you're, usually not. There's no way this team was going to win every one just because of how young they were, and how young they were at relatively big positions and where their big players were. When the Patriots went 16-0, they had Tom Brady as like the superstar, and I think they pretty much had things figured out until the end there, obviously in the postseason. But I think this team, you knew they were going to lose one of them, and this is a pretty good game to lose, because it's like I said, it's on the road. Against a good AFC team. You don't have to lose any NFC tiebreakers there, and you play well throughout. So start off the game with the defense was looking really strong. I think the defense was fine all game, but some people disagree. Start off with a field goal, and then they get a touchdown, and then they get that blocked punt that rolls out of the end zone before Jerron Johnson can corral it, although that was really close and could have been called either way just because it was called safety on the field. They didn't have enough evidence apparently, but that could have been another 5-point swing. So it's 12-0 now, and then Andrew Luck throws a great pass to T.Y. Hilton, just kind of a fluke play there, and then the Colts blocked the kick or the field goal kick, and another fluke play. So all of a sudden the Seahawks are down 2. Then they get a touchdown off a nice Jermaine Kearse catch. Then trade field goals, and then the Seahawks are up 8. Colts get within 2, and then the Colts get up 3, and then up 6. And then at the end, the Seahawks were really close. Russell Wilson threw a ball over to Sidney Rice to end the game. That was intercepted, unfortunately, but it was one of those that it got extremely close and could have very easily been caught in another crazy comeback victory for the Seahawks. But looking at the stats here, Russell Wilson didn't have his best game stats-wise, but he played really well. He had, he was throwing the ball well, escaping, moving out of the pocket, just wreaking havoc on the defense. And then he had 100 yards rushing, along with Marshawn Lynch, the exact same amount of yards. So that was really cool. I thought the defense overall played pretty well. They let up a couple of big plays, had some miscommunications, but the defensive line looked pretty good. A couple of miscalled blitzes, I think, left them in trouble, and then a couple of bad PI calls all the way around. It was just a really close game that it just didn't work out for the Seahawks because there were a number of bad calls, which did contribute for it. A thing like the block punt not being a touchdown didn't go our way. I don't know, just different things like that, and they're not always going to go your way, but you'd like to think that get yourself in a position to where it doesn't matter as much. But I don't know. I think next week going into the Titans game, they will be, I don't know, it'll be a good game for them to come back on. I think they should take care of the Titans pretty easily, but the Titans are a good, tough team. They don't have Jake Locker, so they're not as scary, but Fitzpatrick could get hot and do something, give them a run for the money. Hopefully the Seahawks work on their problems they had this week, mostly communication in the secondary. They've got all the talent there, but along with a couple of bad calls at extended drives, and to kind of keep their composure, make sure they got their guys marked up. And then I think the defense just need to let the pass rushers on the defensive line go, come at them, and then, maybe do some stunts there. But I don't know, the blitzes on third down I'm not a huge fan of, because if you don't get there, then you're kind of done. While the Seahawks have 4 really solid pass rushers that they can just kind of let go and get similar production than doing a blitz. But like surprise blitzes I think are nice, like on second or first down is kind of good. I don't know. So they're going to be playing the Titans at home, and then they go Thursday night against the Cardinals, where Percy Harvin is eligible to come back. He's definitely not going to come back right away then, unless they have something crazy up their sleeve, which would be awesome. But I don't think on a short week. But then possibly the week after that against the Rams, and then their tough stretch is kind of done for at least for a little bit. It doesn't get much easier teams wise, but right now they're in the midst of a 4 out of 5 games on the road. But yeah, so I don't know. At least they get to play within their division against some a little easier teams, but it's not going to get crazy easy, because the Seahawks are in a decent division with teams that know how to play the division pretty well. Although the Rams just got destroyed by the 49ers, so who knows what that'll turn into. I don't know. It should be fun to watch. I do have to say though, like usually wasn't going to do a video on this, and it's not going to be nearly as long because I don't enjoy talking about losses as much as wins. And I don't really enjoy talking about losses, period. I don't like people talking about how I don't like complaining. I don't like people talking about how bad the team looks. I'm always looking for the positive side. That's why when they win, that's when I'm checking Twitter. That's when I'm kind of like soaking it all in with everyone else. But when they lose, people just complain. Oh, blah, blah, blah. They really should have won this game. Blah, blah, blah. Like, all this nonsense. Had to unfollow a couple people on Twitter today just because they just like overreacted everything, and they're not providing any sort of good analysis for me to look at. Like my standards are, okay, if you're a reporter, you can provide like real facts, and then if you're a blogger, you should be able to provide analysis that I haven't heard before, because most of the basic stuff I'm already doing in my brain. So I don't know, but I think for the rest of the season they're in pretty good shape, not too concerned still. A game up on the rest of the division, and then the real threat there is the 49ers, because the Rams don't look like they're as competent as everyone thought they could be, and the Cardinals, I would be shocked if they give the Seahawks or 49ers a run for their money. But the Seahawks do have that tiebreaker as of right now. I don't know. The big thing is going to be Percy Harvin. I think when he comes back, that should give him a nice boost, which I'm excited for, because he would be able to make some plays that could have pushed him over the edge for this game. Because once you get the ball in his hands, he can do some crazy things with it, and I think that'll be fun to watch. But it's looking like the Saints Monday night game is going to be a crazy game that could be a battle for the number 1 seed, because the Saints are 5-0 right now. The Seahawks should have Percy Harvin back by that point, and it's going to be just a great game at CenturyLink. I thought when I first saw that on schedule, I was like, all right, that's going to be a solid game. Like I was like, okay, Percy Harvin can come back for that game. But it was one of those games like I just assumed the Seahawks would win, because I don't know. I knew the Saints were good before, Sean Payton got suspended for a year. But then last year, they just weren't very good. And obviously they were talented, but it was like 7-9. I thought, okay, maybe they're 9-7 or 8-8 this year. That's a team Seahawks take care of super easily at home. But wow, Sean Payton is just super valuable to him. He's just totally turned him around again, has him 5-0. So that's gonna be an awesome game, and lots of good games to look forward to. I think like DVOA has the Seahawks as like the 31st easiest schedule, starting from this game on, like including the Colts game. Or not the 31st easiest, 31st hardest, so it's like second easiest. So it should be fairly easy. But when you look at their matchups, I mean, there's not a real easy team on their let's see, on their schedule. So I'm going to go ahead and look at their schedule. All right, so at home for Tennessee, and then on the road for Arizona, St. Louis, at home for Tampa, then on the road for Atlanta, and then this is where it gets, at least you get to be at home. Or I mean, okay, so pretty much I look at it like, okay, after the St. Louis game is when another part of the season kind of starts, because then you get out of this 5 or 4 road games in 5 games situation. So they are at home for Tampa Bay, which should be they should be able to take care of pretty easily, and then on the road against Atlanta, and Atlanta is not very good, 1-3, but playing Monday night. But that's still gonna be a tough game because Atlanta is good at home, and that's where the Seahawks, that's where their season ended last year. And then at home for Minnesota, which they shouldn't be a big deal, and then they get their bye week, and then they're at home Monday against New Orleans, and then they go on the road to San Francisco and on the road to New York, and then against Arizona and St. Louis at home. So that doesn't seem super easy to me. Especially, it's nice having those last 2 games, which are pretty much just, I think projecting those as wins is pretty, isn't too crazy and something that could be done. I'd just be shocked if they lose those games, but who knows? That's why you play the game. Any game they can lose. The Seahawks could lose the Titans next week. There's no game that's safe. The only game that was pretty safe was the Jacksonville game, but even that, it's like, who knows? Maybe Gus Bradley gets his guys all fired up, and maybe Jeff Fisher gets some crazy thing going. I don't know. But, looking through week 15, the Seahawks are, should be able to add 2 wins. So if they can, get 10 wins in the next games, then I think they'll be good until the end. I don't really know what I'm talking about. I'm kind of done talking here. But yeah, I thought it wasn't, the Seahawks played well. If they had won the game, I would have been talking much more highly of this game. Just one of those that's kind of, I don't know, just they happen. You got to move on. You can't let it ruin your whole day, sort of deal. Especially when you're winning a lot of games, it's you kind of getting used to that, and then all of a sudden you lose, and it's like, oh, that kind of stinks because listening to people talk about how the Seahawks aren't as good as they thought they were isn't very fun, at least for me. But they'll be back at it, and they'll get better, and they'll learn from this, and they'll be winning the Super Bowl at the end of the year. So that's what's going to happen. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time.